Today, we're going to be talking about something that's hard for a lot of therapists to admit to their clients. Something that might even be harder to hear if you're in a relationship with a narcissist. The truth is not sugar-coated. It's not easy to accept. Narcissists don't change. They don't become kinder, more empathic, or loving. And in fact, many narcissists are aware of their lack of empathy and deliberately use it as control, manipulate, and even punish their partners. Hi, I'm Sonia Gandhi. I'm a therapist that specializes in surviving narcissistic abuse and a survivor myself. If you've been waiting, hoping that they will become the person you once thought that they were, this information is for you. It's time to face the truth and start prioritizing your own well-being. The false hope of change. One of the most painful things I see as a therapist is clients holding on to the hope that the narcissist in their life can change. I've had people sit in front of me, tears in their eyes, asking if there's anything they can do to make their partner more loving, more empathic. They hold on to moments when the narcissist seems sweet or vulnerable, believing that deep down that version of that person is still there. But here's the hard truth. Narcissists can't change. They can't develop genuine empathy or kindness, not because they're incapable of understanding what those things are, but because they choose not to. You might disagree with me on this, and I totally respect that. It's hard to swallow that pill. Their entire sense of identity is built on being superior to others, and that leaves no room for authentic connection or mutual respect. It's not that they don't know how to be kind, they simply don't want to be, especially not in a consistent way. They derive a sense of control and satisfaction from keeping their partners in a constant state of emotional confusion and pain. Narcissists know who they are. Here's something many people don't realize. Narcissists know who they are. They may not use the word narcissist, but they understand that they lack empathy, and they use that to their advantage. They're often highly aware of the pain they cause, but instead of feeling remorse, they feel a sense of power. It's difficult to imagine someone deliberately hurting those they claim to love, but that's the reality for many narcissists. It's a control game for them. They project their own flaws and insecurities onto you, manipulating you into thinking that you're the problem, that you're too sensitive, needy, or dramatic. Their constant blame shifting makes you question yourself, leaving you trapped in their web of control. But make no mistake, this behavior is calculated and it's often intentional. How do I know that? Because a narcissist knows how to behave in a public setting, but they can be very different the minute you walk in the door and close the door at home. They are able to then relax and be themselves, but in public, they are charming, they are wonderful, and often you probably hear from a lot of other people how wonderful your partner is. Why will they never admit it? You might be thinking, well, if they know what they're doing, why don't they just admit it? And that's a great question. But here's the thing, narcissists will never admit that they're a narcissist. Why? Because admitting to their own toxic behavior would mean relinquishing the very power and control they've spent their entire life building. Instead, they flip the script. If you ever try to confront a narcissist about their behavior, they're likely to project it back onto you and call you the narcissist. They'll say things like, you're the one who's being selfish, or you're the one who doesn't care about anyone but yourself. They'll twist reality to the point where you start doubting your own perceptions. They thrive on this kind of manipulation. Admitting their behavior would shatter their carefully constructed image, which they protect at all costs. So here's the truth about their lack of empathy. This might be one of the hardest parts to hear. Narcissists know they lack empathy, and they don't just overlook it, they exploit it. In healthy relationships, empathy allows for understanding, compromise, compassion, acknowledgement, validation. It's the foundation of emotional intimacy. But for a narcissist, the lack of empathy gives them free rein to manipulate and to control without feeling guilt. They understand what will hurt you, and they often use that knowledge to intentionally cause pain. Whether it's through silent treatment, gaslighting, or outright emotional abuse, they take satisfaction in your distress. I know it's cruel. If you've ever noticed how a narcissist seems to get a certain satisfaction when you're upset or struggling, that's not your imagination. For many narcissists, your emotional pain is proof of their power over you. It's a reminder that they're the ones that are in control. This is why narcissists are so damaging to their intimate partners. They know exactly how to tear you down, and they do it with precision. It's not random or accidental. It's a form of emotional punishment that keeps you dependent on them. If you're finding this information helpful, although upsetting, I appreciate, then please subscribe to support the channel, and stay tuned until the end for an announcement about a new program launching in January 2025 around healing and breaking patterns. Trauma bonding and the cycle of abuse. It's important to understand that this dynamic creates something called trauma bonding. The highs and lows, the push and pull, the brief moments of affection followed by intense cruelty. This cycle keeps you hooked. You start to believe that if you just behave a certain way or love them enough, you can bring back those good moments. But the reality is, those good moments are a tool of control. The narcissist uses them to keep you attached and connected, to keep you hoping for a change that will never come. This cycle of abuse is deliberate. Narcissists know that keeping you off balance makes it harder for you to leave. But the truth is, the person you're waiting for, the one who's kind, empathic, and loving, doesn't exist. They never did. What you're holding on to is an illusion. What you're holding on to is an illusion. They enjoy causing emotional pain as much as it's hard to hear that. I want to emphasize this again. Narcissists enjoy causing emotional pain. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth. They get satisfaction from watching you struggle because it reinforces their sense of superiority. When you're hurting, they feel in control. When you're confused or upset, they know they have the upper hand. This isn't someone who's accidentally hurting you or unaware of what they're doing, because if they did, they would acknowledge it, they would apologize, and they would validate your feelings rather than try and take those feelings away from you and project back blame. This is someone who is intentionally inflicting pain because it makes them powerful. And the longer you stay, the more they'll continue to push your emotional boundaries, testing how much you'll tolerate. As a therapist, it's hard to tell this truth because we never want to take away someone's hope. But in this case, I have to be honest. The hope you're holding on to might be keeping you trapped. I've had so many clients who've done consults with me, and that's one of the questions that they ask. And when I'm honest with them, because I don't see any reason to be anything less than transparent, they don't come back because they need to absorb that. They need to understand that. They go into denial. They try and prove what I've said is wrong by re-engaging the narcissist over and over again, trying different strategies, begging them, having serious conversations. But that robs you of more time that you could be healing because, of course, you have hope. They will not suddenly develop empathy. They won't stop manipulating you, and they won't magically become the partner that you need and want. The healthiest thing you can do for yourself is to stop waiting for them to change. Instead, focus on your own healing, your own self-worth, and your own freedom. It's not easy to walk away, especially when you've been so emotionally tied to someone. But I promise you, and I know from personal experience, there is life, there is peace, and there is love waiting for you on the other side of this relationship. So if you're listening or watching this and you're in a relationship with a toxic personality or a narcissist, or you're wondering if the person you're with will ever change, please hear me when I say this. It's time to choose yourself. You deserve to be with someone who can love you fully, without manipulation or cruelty. Stay tuned for a new program to help you move forward at the end of this. Walking away isn't a failure. It's an act of self-love. It's the first step towards healing and finding that peace that you truly deserve.